Acharan prayers. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangsha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Namostate Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Fullaravindaya Tapatra Netre Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapane Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamrita Duhe Namaha Hare Krishna. Welcome once again. We are studying chapter 7 of Bhagavad-Gita as it is. This chapter is entitled Knowledge of the Absolute. In the first, I think, 2 classes, we discussed about Lord Krishna giving this knowledge about himself and his energies to Arjuna. He uses the word jnana and vijnana. So he talks about material energy, the marginal energy, and then he gives a list of some of his vibhutis uh, in order to help us see him everywhere. He's the taste of water, he's the light of the sun, he's the heat in the fire, etc. And then he talks about people who do not surrender unto him. So there are 4 types of people who never surrender unto him. Then he also speaks about 4 kinds of people who surrender to him. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukrita arjuna artho artharthi jikyasu jnani cha bharatar sabha. Right. We stopped there in the last class. So from today we'll discuss about these uh, 4th category of devotee who surrenders to Krishna, Jnani, because that Jnani is very dear to Krishna. Krishna specifically mentions that about Jnani Bhakta. So let's read the text. Verse 17. Tesham Jnani Nityayukta Ekabhaktir Vishishyate Priyo hi Jnanino Yavam Ahangsa cha Mama Priyaha. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. Why? Because that person is Eka Bhaktir, Nitya Yukta. So these two qualities make him best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. Priyo hi jnanino atyartham aham sacha mama priyaha. Purport. Free from all contaminations of material desires, the inquisitive, the penniless, and the seeker, the distressed also, after supreme knowledge, can all become pure devotees. So initially, they are not pure devotees because they have some reason for approaching Krishna. Now, this is very interesting. You know, why do we take shelter of Krishna? That's the point. If we are taking shelter of Krishna out of some need, material need, or even let's say we want to get rid of material problems, we don't want any material gain. So then that approach is not considered pure. So pure devotional service means when I'm approaching Krishna for a relationship, I'm not approaching that relationship for some material gain or for Krishna to solve some of my problem. No, I'm just purely out of love approaching Krishna. So out of them, he who is in the knowledge of the absolute truth and free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. Becomes a really pure. Why? Because for today it might happen that you approach Krishna without any desire, but then tomorrow if problem comes, then you may approach Krishna with some desire. So then that purity is not maintained, isn't it? Like sometimes in relationships we do have this experience that initially someone made a relationship with you without any agenda, like no conditions. But after some months or some years, then that person starts expecting too much from you. And then you start wondering, initially you made this relationship, you did not really have all those intentions, and now you are showing me a different face. So similarly, someone may approach Krishna sometimes with no desire, but at other times, one approaches Krishna with desires. So then that person is not really a pure
The
devotee.
sound is not coming, Prabhuji.
Why is it not coming? I think it's
Sound is
coming.
not there.
Maybe there's something wrong with your speaker. Please check.
Mind speaker.
Yeah. Others, you are getting the sound, right?
We can hear Prabhuji.
Yes,
Yes, we can
Prabhuji.
hear Prabhuji. Yeah.
If there was no sound coming, do you think everyone has so much of patience that I was speaking for almost 2 minutes? They would just wait and they would definitely tell me, right? There's no sound. So, yeah. Pure devotee means one who approaches always Krishna with pure intention. And of the four orders, the devotee who is in full knowledge and is at the same time engaged in devotional service is, the Lord says, the best. By searching after knowledge, one realizes that his self is different from his material body. And when further advanced, he comes to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. When one is fully purified, he realizes that his constitutional position is to be the eternal servant of God. So, by association with pure devotees, the inquisitive, the distressed, the seeker after material amelioration, and the man in knowledge all become pure themselves. But in the preparatory stage, the man who is in full knowledge of the Supreme Lord and is at the same time executing devotional service is very dear to the Lord. He who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so protected in devotional service that material contamination cannot touch him. So I think it's easy to understand what is being further explained. So they are pure devotees because they have knowledge and they don't have any material motive. But if one is not pure, one can still become pure by associating with pure devotees. Now, how does that association affect us? It's very simple. When we associate with a pure devotee, we begin to understand that that pure devotee is deriving greater satisfaction from his or her service to Krishna. And we also start desiring that satisfaction. So then we understand that I should also change my attitude in my seva. I should not approach Krishna with material motives because I'm not that happy, but a pure devotee is so blissful serving Krishna. So it's just like if you are a poor person uh, and you don't have money, you don't know how to live your life when money comes. But when you see a rich person who has a lot of money, then seeing that person, you also understand, yeah, when I'll have money, I will also live my life like that, you know. So the prospects of a better life becomes visible to you when you associate with a person who is living a better standard of life. Similarly, in devotional service also, we very much become satisfied with our own level of devotional service. But when we come across someone who renders devotional service with a greater purity, then we develop a desire. I wish I can also render devotional service with that much purity. So that's what association does. It sparks desire in our heart for rendering better service to Krishna. Okay, yes. So that verse is done. Now, Krishna says Jnani is very dear for two reasons. Nitya Yukta means that person does not leave Krishna. When the material desire is fulfilled, a person who is distressed or in need of money may leave Krishna. That, okay, see you next time when I have a problem, I'll come back again. But a Jnani will not do that. Steadiness will be there. And Eka Bhakti, the Jnani is not, you can say, um, is not multi directional in his approach. He has only one shelter, only one deity, Aradhya Dev. He is not multi branched in his uh, Shraddha. So that's why that person is very dear to Krishna. Okay, next verse. Now, someone may say, is it true that only the Jnani is dear? No, others are not at all dear. So then Krishna says, no, it's not like that. In the next verse, he says, Udaraha. Very nice word is using. Udaraha sarva evete jnani tu atma eva me matam. Asthita sayuktatma mam evanu tamam gatim. Udaraha. He's saying, everyone is magnanimous. Whoever comes to me is a magnanimous soul. I mean, Krishna is saying that's a great person who comes to me. Everyone. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. So he's thanking everyone, whoever is coming to Krishna. Um, but he's saying the Gyan is the best. Being engaged in my transcendental service is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. Okay. So I have a question now for you. Let's say when you are practicing and sharing Krishna consciousness, you come across a person who is not interested in pure devotional service, and you know that the goal of life is to become a pure devotee. But that person is seemingly not interested in pure devotional service as of now. So, how will you deal with such people? They have material desires and they are very honest about it that they have it, and they are also pretty clear that they don't want to give up their material desire very soon. They want to take some time, fulfill those desires, and then maybe take to pure devotional service. So when you come across such people, how will you deal with them? You start smashing them down with the philosophy that no, no, you should become a pure devotee, or you'll say that you have no place in iskcon, or you are in Maya. What will you do? Yes, hands are up for hands. Answer. Yeah, Sharda Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think that we need to elevate people from where they are currently. If they have material desires, it is okay so long as they have a desire to approach the Supreme Lord. I think we need to be more compassionate with our outreach, and like we need to treat people or try to elevate them from where they are at the moment. We cannot expect them to become pure devotees overnight, because even we are not. So and we all are passing through that stage. um,
So what
so
will you do?
yeah, that would be my
So what will you do when you're dealing with those devotees, those people?
tell them that it's okay to have such desires, that it is fine so long as they can approach the Lord with those desires. um, because I mean, the Lord is describing that even people who approach him with desires are sukritinas,
Okay,
as
fine.
opposed to yeah, as opposed to somebody who is atheistic, someone who is on a certain spectrum of certain faith. Even if it is Mishra Bhakti, it is acceptable.
Okay, fine. Yes, so we allow them to practice and we also educate them. We tell them what is pure devotional service and what is Mishrit Bhakti, and we tell them it's okay, you can take your own time and come to realize the importance of pure devotional service later in later stage of your life. So yes, we can allow them. We can give them that space. Yes, correct. I think all of you have raised your hand will agree with that, isn't it? Yes, it's no problem. Okay, next, let's read the purport here. Um,
Prabhu,
7.18. Yeah, someone is saying something.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Antaranga Shakti Devidasi here.
Yes,
Uh,
Mataji.
Prabhuji, I had a question regarding this. So, like you were saying, like we need to, give them a space and we should not judge them and, allow them to have, uh, whatever desires that they have. But
Yeah,
when
of
the
course,
time,
those desires, when you say whatever desires, they have to be genuinely, dharmic desires, not
Mhm.
a dharmic desire. If it is a dharmic desire, then definitely that is not going to help them make progress in Krishna consciousness. So it has to be a dharmic desire, a genuine desire. It's okay. Some desires, genuine desires are allowed.
But Prabhuji, I had a question that when, like, let's suppose, like, in our close family member is, like, it is someone who is like from our close family, and we have to, date in day-to-day life, we have to be in touch with them, and like, they are like normal, they do not, they have a dharmic desires, but then, we are like, our lifestyle as, practicing devotees very different. So how can we deal with such a situation where uh, we, because they do not even have a desire to know more about Krishna, know more about spiritual life, but they are doing their duties, the material duties properly, but they do not like want to, or they do not wish to progress in a spiritual life, or they do not have much concern about spiritual life, but we have to like as a devotee we are advised to associate more with devotees, but we cannot avoid our family members or the close people, right? So how to deal with them then in such case? And we also get desire, whatever lifestyle I am following, I want to tell them about that, or uh, you know
Your question basically is about what? Preaching to them or
preaching to them, yeah, preaching to them, because it is for long term, it is also difficult to live with such people where the lifestyle is completely different, right? And then we also lose our desire to progress in spiritual life.
okay. So now um, you can't really influence them always. It's not possible
Mm-hmm.
because if they don't have their own inclination to practice Krishna consciousness, you can't forcibly uh, ask them to do it. You can only pray, you can always inspire them. Sometimes they may agree, sometimes they may not agree, sometimes they may agree to follow only 10% or 5%.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, we all as practicing devotees have to understand one thing. You can't always uh, desire an environment which is going to be 100% favorable for your practicing Krishna consciousness because that doesn't happen for anyone on this planet. Every time and everywhere, in every situation, there's going to be opposing factor. Whether you are a grihastha, whether you are brahmachari, whether you are a sannyasi, whether you are a small devotee, you are a big devotee, you have very few services, you have lots of services. There are always going to be opposing elements in the environment, because that's how this material world is. So if you have this idea that you know you can first make everything around you favorable and then practice Krishna consciousness, that time is not going to come.
Okay.
you know.
But then, Prabhuji, we
because
also have a fear.
because yeah, that is true. So that's why we have to understand, first of all, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness very clearly, and then we have to see how in my situation I'm going to apply it. The science has to be understood properly. If you are always thinking of changing the situation to fit Krishna consciousness into it, then you have not really understood Krishna consciousness.
Okay.
Because then your situation or my situation is no different from Arjuna's situation, who's also trying to change his situation. He is trying to become Krishna conscious outside the battlefield, and Krishna wants him to be Krishna consciousness while fighting the battle.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji.
Right?
Mm.
So we all have this tendency that we always try to change the situation, thinking that this will make me more Krishna conscious. But that is not Krishna consciousness, because if your Krishna consciousness is based on a situation, then that is again a relative consciousness.
Yeah.
It's not absolute consciousness. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right? So therefore, we have to properly understand the science of Krishna consciousness, and we have to definitely try to make things more favorable. But you can't always make them 100% favorable.
Mm.
And that doesn't happen for anyone. Even if, let's say, you become a pure devotee of Krishna, there will always be opposing elements around you.
Makes sense. Yes, Prabhuji.
Right? And that's what we see in the lives of pure devotee. Did Srila Prabhupada, as an acharya, did not face opposing elements in his seva to Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Were the problems only coming from his family members when he was a grihastha? Did the problems did not come from his own disciples after he became an acharya?
Mm.
Right? The problems came from his disciples also, right? So that will always happen. Therefore, whatever your prarabdha is, that means in whatever situation Krishna has put you, and after putting some lit efforts to come out of that situation, if you're not able to come out of that situation, then you should know Krishna wants me to be Krishna conscious in this situation only.
Mm.
You have to accept that reality, right? And if you accept that reality and you become Krishna conscious, you have perfected the practice of Krishna consciousness. But if you want to keep on changing the situation, then the whole life will just go on in fighting those battles, trying to change the external situation, right? So you try your best to help people around you to become Krishna conscious. But if you can't do that to some extent, you can do only to some extent. It's okay, you accept that and you practice your Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we go to the next verse. Next verse is 7. No, we did not read the purport yet of this 7.18. Aarti Mataji, please read the purport.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. It is not 18, right, Prabhu? Yeah. It is not that devotees who are less complete in knowledge are not dear to the Lord. The Lord says that all are magnanimous because anyone who comes to the Lord for any purpose is called a Mahatma or great soul. The devotees who want some benefit out of devotional service are accepted by the Lord, because there is an exchange of affection. Out of affection, they ask the Lord for some material benefit. And when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. But the devotee in full knowledge is considered to be very dear to the Lord because his only purpose is to serve the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. Such a devotee cannot live a second without contacting or serving the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is very fond of his devotee and cannot be separated from him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.68, the Lord says, Sadhavo Hrudayam Mahyam, Sadhunam Hrudayam Tvaham, Mad Anyatena Jananti, Naham Tebyo Manag Api. The devotees are always in my heart, and I am always in the hearts of the devotees. The devotee does not know anything beyond me, and I also cannot forget the devotee. There is a very intimate relationship between me and the pure devotees. Pure devotees in full knowledge are never out of spiritual touch, and therefore they are very much dear to me. Thanks.
Yeah. So they are always in touch with Krishna, and therefore they are very dear to Krishna. Okay. Text 19. Bahunam janma namante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevah sarvamiti sa mahatma sudur labha. So Bahunam means after many, Janmanam, births and deaths. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, and all that is such a great soul is very rare. Yeah, so the point is, if one does not become pure devotee in this life, then one will again take birth, again practice Krishna consciousness, and again take birth, again practice Krishna consciousness. And then after many, many births, that person will then become a pure devotee. Bahunam janmanam ante. After developing this knowledge that Krishna is everything, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Right? So then that person is very dear to Krishna. Very dear to Krishna. Such a soul is also very rare. Sudurlabha Mahatma. Purport. Priyanka Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna. The living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals after many, many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism. But when one is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute devotional service. Realizing this, he becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders to Him. At such a time, one can understand that Lord Krishna's mercy is everything, that He is the cause of all causes, and that this material manifestation is not independent from Him. He realizes the material world to be a perverted reflection of spiritual variegatedness and realizes that in everything there is a relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Thus, he thinks of everything in relation to Vasudeva or Shri Krishna. Such a universal vision of Vasudeva pre- precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord Krishna as the highest goal. Such surrendered great souls are very rare. This verse is very nicely explained in the third chapter, verses 14 and 15 of the Shvetasvatara Upanishad. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Vrata Tistad Dasangulam पुरुष एवदं सर्वं यद् भूतं यच्च भाव्यम् उत्तम नरातत्वस्य सेनो यद् अनेशना तिहोरति. In the Chandogya Upanishad 5.1.15, it is said, Na vai vacho na chakshumsi na strotrani na manam siti.
You missed these lines.
Sorry, Prabhuji.
Vishnu, you missed these lines, right? Lord Vishnu has thousands of heads, thousands of eyes.
I can't find that in the book.
Really? Okay. Maybe you have a different edition of the book.
No,
See on the screen?
Prabhuji, you're not displaying that.
I'm not displaying the screen.
No,
Okay, I'm
that's
sorry.
I'm reading from the book.
Okay, from here you read, please. Lord Vishnu has thousands of heads.
Yeah, this is not there in the book actually. Okay, Lord Vishnu has thousands of head, thousands of eyes, and thousands of feet, entirely encompassing the whole universe. He still extends beyond it by 10 fingers breadth. He is in fact this entire universe. He is all that he is all that was and all that will be. He is the Lord of immortality and of all that is nourished by food. In the Chandogya Upanishad 5.1.15, it is said, Na vai vacho na chakshumsi na srotrani na manam sti akashchate prana
Achakshate.
achakshate prana iti chakshate prano he ivaitani sarvani bhavanti. In the body of a living being, neither the power to speak, nor the power to see, nor the power to hear, nor the power to think is the prime factor. It is life which is the center of all activities. Similarly, Lord Vasudeva, or the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is the prime entity in everything. In this body, there are powers of speaking, of seeing, of hearing, of mental activities, etc. But these are not important if not related to the Supreme Lord. And because Vasudeva is all pervading and is everything, is Vasudeva, a devotee surrenders in full knowledge.
Thank
Bhagavad-Gita
you.
7.17 and 11.4.
Yeah, thank you. So we came across different types of bhakti. So far in Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna mentions. And this analysis is more nicely done by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary on Bhagavad-Gita. So he says these are the different types of bhakti. First is Kevala Bhakti. Kevala is also known as Ananya, is also known as Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service. Okay. So that is unalloyed devotional service performed only to please the Lord without any selfish motives. That's Kevala Bhakti. Hmm? That is given in verses like 7.1, 8.14, 9.13, 9.22. Then the next is Mishrit or Mishra Bhakti, mixed devotional service. In Sanskrit, it is technically called as Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti, which means Bhakti is more prominent. When you say Karma Mishra Bhakti, that means Bhakti is more prominent and Karma is present in um, minute proportions. Jnana Mishra Bhakti means Bhakti is more prominent and Jnana is present in some minute proportion. And same is Yoga Mishra Bhakti means Bhakti is more prominent and Yoga is present in some minute proportion. Fine. So that is like someone has some desire for removing one's suffering, getting some material gain. Then there is Guni Bhuta Bhakti. Guni Bhut Bhakti means Bhakti is very small. Karma or Gyan or Yoga is more prominent. That's called Guni Bhut. So you can technically also call this as Bhakti Mishra Karma or Bhakti Mishra Jnana or Bhakti Mishra Yoga. Means karma is more prominent and there is a mixture of little bhakti in it. So that is something like when you talk about karma yoga. So karma yoga is basically bhakti mishra karma. There's some element of bhakti in it. When you talk about jnana yoga, so there's little bhakti in it. Because without bhakti, even karma yoga and jnana yoga cannot give any benefit. So this is also analyzed deeply by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in other works. So bhakti is required in anything. Everyone needs some bhakti. Bhakti basically means Shraddha or faith. Okay. Any question from this? No?
Yoga Mishra Bhakti is what? Like,
Sorry?
Yoga Mishra Bhakti is.
Yoga Mishra Bhakti means there is bhakti, but there is also a mixture of practices of Ashtanga Yoga.
Okay.
One is interested in Paramatma realization, or one is interested in acquiring some material siddhis. Like, I want to become powerful enough to read everyone's mind, something like that, some mystic perfection. So that is Yoga Mishra.
Prabhuji, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
For the Yoga Mishra Bhakti, like in the present day, all of us will have to take care of the body as well. So when we are doing yoga or are in that practice, is that considered that way? Because it is, we want to do it purely for a
Not
physical
considered that way.
benefits.
You're not doing Ashtanga Yoga anyway, you're just doing some exercise. That's not Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Yoga Mishra Bhakti means when you perform the limbs of Ashtanga Yoga for getting some siddhi. And along with that, you do bhakti.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
The yoga that people practice these days is only exercise, physical exercise, bodily exercise. That's all. That is not Ashtanga Yoga.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Mm.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, may I ask?
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, in Yoga Mishra Bhakti and Bhakti Mishra Yoga, so the desire to attain this siddhi is for Bhakti Mishra Yoga because their bhakti is less and
No, even in Yoga Mishra Bhakti, that desire might be there. In Bhakti Mishra Yoga, there is going to be prominence of Ashtanga Yoga only. Bhakti will be very minute. So Bhakti will be there in the form of having this faith that there is God, there is Bhagavan, and I should be obedient to Bhagavan. So Bhakti is there, but it's very, very small.
okay.
But when it's Yoga Mishra Bhakti, that means that person has quite good understanding of who is Bhagavan, and you know,
Okay,
you
so
should
he's depending more on Bhagwan to get those siddhis like that.
yes, correct.
Okay.
He's depending on Bhakti to get those benefits. So the Bhakti is not pure.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So this is what happens actually quite often, honestly speaking. Most of the practicing devotees are also in one of these categories. They are either Karma Mishra Bhaktas or Jnana Mishra Bhaktas or Yoga Mishra Bhaktas. Now we are talking about iskcon devotees. Right? They are either Karma Mishra, Jnana Mishra or Yoga Mishra. Because we perform devotional service, but we also have certain other desires, and we try to sometimes even fulfill those desires doing bhakti. That Krishna, please, I'm your devotee. I have this desire. Fulfill it, please. So, pure devotional service means then you don't depend on bhakti for fulfillment of those desires. Uh, then you think like, if it was in my prarabdha, I'll get it. But why should I ask Krishna for it? Or why should I chant my japa or I do my bhakti sadhana for fulfillment of that desire? Mm. So you don't, but the point is you don't use bhakti for getting that desire fulfilled. Then it becomes pure bhakti. Mm.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I ask a question?
Mm.
Um, so is that considered a bad thing, or is it considered as a step towards pure devotional, or pure bhakti,
There is
Prabhuji?
nothing like good or bad. Nothing like good or bad. Because if you look at if you are at step 20, then step 18 is lower and step 22 is higher. So there is nothing good or bad. There is lower and higher, right? So if you want to go to a higher stage, then from that viewpoint, Mishra Bhakti is a lower level of bhakti. Mm. So there is nothing like good and bad. It's all about progression, right? Progression, advancement from a lower level to a higher level. So we can always stay at whatever level we are, but then sometimes it becomes a tendency to be just there only and not make further progress, isn't it? So that also should not also happen. Okay, now an exercise.
One question, Prabhu.
Huh?
Yeah, sometimes like we are stuck in situations and we seek Krishna's help. So that is considered as Mishra as one only, Prabhu. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
to get, okay,
yes.
okay,
Because when we will study pure devotional service, the definition is very clear. Then you have no other desire, no other desire at all.
okay.
Um, So
Thank you,
that is
Prabhu.
pure. So if it is even 1 centimeter short of that, then it is impure.
Okay,
Um, Then it's mixed. But of course, if it is only 1% less than 100, then it is not as bad as 20%. 99% is also quite good. But still, it will not be called as 100%, right? Therefore, pure means pure. And anything thought lesser than pure is impure, even if that is very less quantity. It's impure.
okay. So whatever Krishna gives, we just accept it without asking him
Yes.
to
Yeah,
guide
but
us.
then you can't just like, okay, I've understood it. So from today I'll be like that. It's not going to work like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
pure devotional service is not your intellectual decision that from today I'll be pure devotee. No,
Mm,
it's a matter of consciousness.
okay.
It's not something which is intellectually done. From today I'll be practice pure devotional service. It's a matter of your heart. If your heart is pure, you will have that frequency will be easily accepted by you. But if your heart is not pure yet, then pure devotional service, even intellectually you accept the idea that it is very nice, or from today I should do it because this is the best. It's not going to happen because heart is functioning at the same frequency, as before.
Mm,
So that only happens by purification.
okay.
Okay. Hmm?
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
So understanding the different types of devotees discussed in, I think you're seeing the slide, yes, discussed in 7.16 to 19, please draw a hierarchy of them, showing steps to rise to the next levels. And this is an exercise which all of you should do. Don't just, remain idle or absent in the exercise. Please do it. make a hierarchy of different types of devotees as discussed in 16, 17, 18, 19. In your notebook, you can do this. Hierarchy means the topmost, then the lower, then the lower, then the lower, like that.
Prabhuji, are you asking us to do it right now, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Done. Yes. Did something. First of all, you should know what types of devotees are mentioned here. Then you can make the hierarchy. You did something? Yes. Okay.
Yes,
So
Prabhuji. Yes.
I'm showing the answer to you. And then you can check if yours is something like that. So of all these devotees, the lowest category is of level is of Artha Bhakta and Artharthi Bhakta. One who is distressed and who is interested in material gain. Okay. Then little higher than that is Jigyasu. But both of these, they fall in the category, or all three of these, they fall in the category of karma mishra bhakti. Then higher than that is jnani bhakta. So this jnani bhakta may be jnana mishra bhakta or yoga mishra bhakta. And then the highest is ananya bhakta, pure devotee. So one can come to this pure devotional platform by association of a pure devotee. From any level, one can come to this stage. Otherwise, if one gradually makes progress, it may take many, many births. Right? That's what Krishna is saying. Bhavanam janma namante jnanavan mam prapadyate. So initially, when knowledge increases, then one comes to jnana. Then when vairagya increases, then there's further development of jnana. And when devotion increases, then there is purity. Therefore, it's very important that we gradually cultivate these qualities of knowledge, renunciation, and devotion.
Prabhuji, can I ask a question?
Yes.
What is the meaning of Artharthi Bhakta?
Seeking material gain, wealth.
How is it different than Artha Bhakta?
Artha is distressed.
Okay. And the other question is, I mean, we see the step as knowledge increases, then renunciation and devotion. Is it always the step by step, or is it possible that we start seeking the knowledge at the same time person starts renunciation and devotion in parallel?
Yes, but then it will be based on the previous one. There cannot be vairagya without jnana. If there is vairagya, then jnana is naturally there. It's not possible to give up, means actually give up without knowledge. Artificially, one may give up, then that renunciation is not steady renunciation. Then that is like sangshan vairagya. Sangshan vairagya is flickering vairagya. It's just because of some emotion. That's not giving up in knowledge. Giving up knowledge means you are convinced and you won't go back to it again. But vairagya just given as a giving up things just as a matter of sentiment, that is not, this happens very often. Like in our society, especially, we see sometimes people, they just imitate. They see some sannyasi or they see some sadhu is very renounced. So then they start dreaming, I will also become like that sadhu in just 2 days. And then externally, they may try to copy that sadhu also. But internally, their heart is not having the same frequency of purity, or so then if they get some opportunity again to go back to comfort zone or enjoy sense gratification, they will easily slide down to that level. So such a vairagya is not real vairagya. It is only an imposition of vairagya. But real vairagya comes from jnana. And that jnana is something which is in your heart, in your consciousness.
But see how Jigyasu Bhakta falls into Karma Vashra Bhakti?
Because the jigyasu is also not really situated in knowledge yet. Curiosity is not a sign of knowledge. Curiosity means you are passionate about knowing. And this passion about knowing may also be equally applicable to material subject matter. So those who are curious, they are curious about everything. It's not that they are just curious about Bhagavan. They are curious about different subject matters also, which are going to eventually help them in their material progress.
But to
So,
go Bhakti, we need to be Jigyasu, right, Prabhuji?
yes, but you have to be jigyasu only about bhakti then.
Yes.
Then that is not jigyasu then. Because jigyasu means you are curious, that's your nature. So you have come to Krishna consciousness only out of curiosity. not because you are looking for Krishna consciousness. And there are many people like that. They just want to try bhakti, okay, how is it? Let me just try it out of curiosity. Some people have that nature. They want to try everything in their life. So when they come across bhakti, they want to try it. When they come across yoga, they want to try it. When they come across something else, they want to try that also.
So jigyasa, Toto Brahma jigyasa is only for bhakti, right? Or as in,
To Brahma jigyasa is jigyasa, but then that jigyasa is very specific. Brahma jigyasa. It's not any kind of jigyasa,
okay,
right?
yes.
Because in this world, who doesn't have jigyasa? Everyone has. Even a dog has jigyasa. Cat also has jigyasa. Jigyasa means what? To look for something, right? So everyone is looking for something,
Mm.
isn't it? So Brahma jigyasa, very specific. But now you stop all other jigyasas and then you do only Brahma jigyasa. That's why that word is there. Athato. Athato means now having come to human form, give up all kinds of jigyasas, only do Brahma jigyasa. So that is pure devotion service.
Prabhuji, one more question around the renunciation and devotion. So, according to this chart, we see that the renounce only after certain renunciation we can really practice devotion, or is it like when we start the devotional practice, we automatically get the renunciation? How these two are linked?
Interrelated. It's interrelated. It's not that when you become renounced fully, then only you can start devotion service. But it is also true that devotion can only start when there is some amount of renunciation. If there is no renunciation or the spirit of renunciation, bhakti can also not enter into a heart like that. Because when you get bhakti, with bhakti comes gyan and vairagya both. If that gyan and vairagya has not come, then that bhakti will also not stay. Therefore we have these lots of sentimental people in India. They may present themselves as bhakta, but then their bhakti is very, you can say weak or soft, in the sense in any situation they can change their faith, or they stop their sadhana, they move away from the practices. Because sufficient knowledge has not developed, sufficient renunciation has also not developed. Right. So anyone who takes to Krishna consciousness or comes to bhakti, you should know that some element of jnana and vairagya is already there, coming from previous births. Now, vairagya doesn't mean externally you have to be a vairagi. Vairagya means it's actually a quality of heart. How easily you can detach yourself from material desires, material aspirations. That can be also in the heart of a grihastha. It doesn't mean that person has to externally be renounced.
Like Yukta Vairagya, what we hear from.
Yukta Vairagya is a different concept. Let's not get into that. Vairagya is first, Yukta is later. So first is Vairagya. Vairagya means, again, I explained this with a very simple example. Maybe I gave this example before. So please try to hear attentively, then you'll understand. So what is Vairagya? Raga means attachment. Okay. And Vairag means no attachment. Now, what is Rag? Try to understand it as color. So if your chitta or your heart is sometimes also used as translation of chitta. So some impression is there on the chitta. If that chitta has the quality of vairagya, then that impression will not last long on the chitta. It will not stay there. If that chitta doesn't have vairagya, then that impression will have a strong impact on the chitta. Okay. So to give you an example, very crude example, especially those who know cooking, there is a pan which is non-sticky in nature, and there is a pan which is sticky in nature. Okay. So non-sticky pan and sticky pan, they both come in contact with the uh, roti or paratha or whatever you put on the pan, right? Isn't it? The quality of non-sticky is that it doesn't stick, and the quality of sticky is that it sticks. Both of them, they come in contact with that, right? Floor, what we call. mm, mm, I'm not getting the word in English. How do you call it? So
The duff, yeah.
yeah,
Base of the
after you
pan.
after you have rolled the, right? So
Yeah.
it comes in contact. So the sticky sticks and the non-sticky doesn't stick. Try to understand. Similarly, people's heart have different degrees of stickiness and non-stickiness. Vairagya means your heart is non-sticky, and rag means your heart is sticky. Okay, so um, this is something which one gets because of cultivation of knowledge, and cultivation of knowledge doesn't mean how many books you have read, how many shlokas you have memorized. This is quality of the soul. So to the degree the soul is purified, to that degree the soul will exhibit pure knowledge, and to the degree it will exhibit pure knowledge, to that degree the chitta will be non-sticky in nature, or it will have the quality of vairagya. Which means even if you have come across lots of sense objects, and those sense objects, you interact with those sense objects, because your heart is non-sticky in nature, those sense objects will not leave an impression on your heart. So that is vairagya. Now that vairagya is an internal quality. Externally, one may be a grihastha, one may be a brahmachari, one may be a man, one may be a woman, one may be a brahmana, one may be a shudra. We are talking about external, your, situation, status, whatever. But we cannot decide the quality of the heart, the chitta one has. That is based on one's purity. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It clarifies. Yeah.
Fine. So, yeah, if you have practiced spiritual life in your past lives, you have developed knowledge, spiritual knowledge, then in this life you'll be born with a certain level of vairagya naturally. Okay. Just like you're born with a certain level of knowledge also, dhyana. How many of you did know that you are spirit soul even before reading Prabhupada books? Did know means, I'm not talking about realization. Yes, there was some sense of being, something beyond this body. You had that. Only when you read it in Prabhupada's book, you became more convinced about it. But it doesn't mean that you never believed in it, and after reading the book, you suddenly started believing in it. Isn't it? That means the knowledge was already there. Hmm? That knowledge was already there. So that knowledge has come to you from your previous life. Okay. It's like that. Fine. Makes sense. Let's go to next verse then. Demigod worship and impersonal worship. So Arjuna will ask now to Krishna. He will not ask, but he wants to ask. And Krishna reads his mind. So if people should surrender to Krishna, why then people don't surrender to Krishna? They go to different other personalities. So then Krishna will give the answer for that. Why does that happen? So he says, verse 20, Kamaiste sthirhitagyanah prapadyante anya devataha tang tang niyamamastaya prakritaya niyata swaya. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So those who have very strong material desires, and because of that their intelligence becomes easily distracted, they, instead of surrendering to Krishna, they surrender to a demigod. Because they want quick results. They don't have patience. And they know that the demigods will fulfill their desires very quickly. Right? So then they surrender to the demigods. Okay. Purport. Yes, Sankarshan Vishnu Prabhuji, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Those who are freed from the material contaminations surrender unto the Supreme Lord and engage in his devotional service. As long as the material contamination is not completely washed off, they are by nature non-devotees. But even those who have material desires and who resort to the Supreme Lord are not so much attracted by external nature because of approaching the right goal. They soon become free from all material lust. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that whether one is a pure devotee and is free from all material desires, or is full of material desire, or desires liberation from material contamination, he should in all cases surrender to Vasudeva and worship him. As stated in Bhagavatam 2.3.10, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi tivena bhakti yogena yajata purusham param. Less intelligent people who have lost their spiritual sense take shelter of demigods for immediate fulfillment of material desires. Generally, such people do not go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they are in the lower modes of nature, ignorance and passion, and therefore worship various demigods. Following the rules and regulations of worship, they are satisfied. The worshippers of demigods are motivated by small desires and do not know how to reach the supreme goal. But a devotee of the Supreme Lord is not misguided, because in Vedic literature there are recommendations for the worshipping different gods for different purposes. For example, a deceased man is recommended to worship the sun. Those who are not devotees of the Lord think that for certain purposes, demigods are better than the Supreme Lord. But a pure devotee knows that the Supreme Lord, Krishna, is the master of all. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 5.142, it is said, Ekle Ishwara Krishna are sab bhrata. Only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is master and all others are servants. Therefore, a pure devotee never goes to the demigods for satisfaction of his material needs. He depends on the Supreme Lord, and the pure devotee is satisfied with whatever he gives. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Next. Yo yang yang tanu bhaktah shraddhaya chitumicchati Tasya tasya chalang shaddham tameva vidadhamyaham. I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. So Krishna is saying that he only, as the super soul in the heart, makes one's faith strong in a particular demigod or deity, because he knows that that personality can best help that candidate. Mhm. Fine. So Krishna only helps them to become devoted to some demigod because their nature is like that. If their nature is of a devotee, then Krishna will bring them to himself. All right. Hmm. Okay. So let's read the purport here. Sanjay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a question on the previous one. Can I
Yes,
ask?
Mataji.
So whether it is demigod or Krishna, like the Artha Mishra Bhakti, right? In that also, like for example, they might not understand the ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness or bhakti, but if they pray to Krishna himself, even for material desires, they might be able to get it, right? Why only demigods?
They may get it, no doubt about it. But the thing is that it's a nature of Krishna Bhakti. If you take to Krishna Bhakti, then because Krishna is the deity that you have approached for help, Krishna will not fulfill the desires very soon.
So it is a scripture, in scripture we accept that Krishna will not fulfill material desires quickly. Prabhuji, is that how to
Yeah,
understand it?
yes, because Krishna doesn't have that nature.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So that will take time because then Krishna will want to give you something higher than what you are desiring. Krishna will want you to get purified.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
May I?
Very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat. God
Yes.
has given independence to everyone. Therefore, if a person desires to have material enjoyment and wants very sincerely to have such facilities from the material demigods, the Supreme Lord has super soul in everyone's heart, understands and gives facilities to such persons. As the Supreme Father of all living entities, he does not interfere with their independence, but gives all facilities so that they can fulfill their material desires. Some may ask why the all powerful God gives facilities to the living entities for enjoying this material world and so lets them fall into the trap of illusory energy. The answer is that if the Supreme Lord, as Super Soul, does not give such facilities, then there is no meaning to independence. Therefore, he gives everyone full independence, whatever one likes. But his ultimate instructions we find in the Bhagavad-Gita. One should give up all other engagements and fully surrender unto him. That will make him happy. That will make man happy. Both the living entity and the demigods are subordinate to the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the living entity cannot worship the demigod by his own desire, nor can the demigod bestow any benedictions without the Supreme will. As it is said, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally, persons who are distressed in the material world go to the demigods, as they are advised in the Vedic literature. A person wanting some material, a person wanting some particular thing may worship such and such a demigod. For example, a diseased person is recommended to worship the sun god. A person wanting education may worship the goddess of learning, Saraswati. And a person wanting a beautiful wife may worship the goddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva. In this way, there are recommendations in the Shastras, Vedic scriptures, for different modes of worship of different demigods. And because a particular living entity wants to enjoy a particular material facility, the Lord inspires him with a strong desire to achieve that benediction from that particular demigod. And so he successfully receives the benediction. The particular mode of the devotional attitude of the living entity towards a particular type of demigod is also arranged by the Supreme Lord. The demigods cannot infuse the living entities with such an affinity, but because he is the Supreme Lord or the Super Soul, who is present in the hearts of all living entities. Krishna gives impetus to man to worship certain demigods. The demigods are actually different parts of the universal body of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they have no independence. In the Vedic literature, it is stated the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Super Soul is also present within the heart of the demigod. Therefore, he arranges through the demigod to fulfill the desire of the living entity. But both the demigod and the living entity are dependent on the Supreme Will. They are not independent. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So this is very important for us to understand that even those who worship the demigods, they cannot say, I have nothing to do with Krishna, because it's Krishna only who is fulfilling their desires through the demigods. Demigods cannot act independently of Krishna. But it's just that Krishna is not directly getting involved, but he's using his assistants or his administrators to do some job there by fulfilling those people's desires. Hmm.
Prabhuji, one question from
One
the previous verse.
Okay.
Yeah. So we see in the society there are a lot of devotees who are actually devotees of demigods, but we see they do it with a lot of affection and devotion. So do we see them as inferior to somebody who is a devotee in Krishna consciousness, or they are also like at the same level, or I mean, how do we relate them?
You understand your question. There are people who worship demigods in the society, you mean to say, like general society of people
Yes,
are.
and some of them are like very devoted to that, what they do it. Yeah, they do it with a lot of love and dedication. So how do we relate uh, to them with the devotees who are in Krishna consciousness? Do we treat them the same, or
Well, what are you talking about? Actually, is I believe like someone is doing demigod worship, but he's doing it very honestly, devotedly. And
Hmm.
let's say there is a Krishna Bhakta, but that Krishna Bhakta is not so devoted to Krishna Bhakti. That's what you are saying?
Yeah, maybe like that. So how do we relate because sometimes we hear from some maybe senior devotees, so to say, that they only consider the people who are in Krishna consciousness as devotees, and everybody else they refer to them as non-devotees. So I'm a little bit confused there. I mean, because the
So that
demigods
that
also are
depends on
servants
the
of Krishna.
context, na? The word devotee, how in what context you are using it. Actually, in true sense, the word devotee only applies to those who are worshipping Krishna or some Vishnu Tattva. Others
Mhm.
cannot be called as devotees. The word bhakta and the word bhakti, it applies only to Krishna Bhakti or Vishnu Bhakti. It doesn't apply to Shiv Bhakti or Ganesha Bhakti. So if the word Bhakti doesn't apply to worshipping of Ganesha and Shiva, then how
Mhm.
can we call Shiva worshippers or Ganesha worshippers as bhaktas? That word can be used only for Krishna Bhakti. This is very evidently explained in the writings of our acharyas that the word devotion and the word devotee is only applicable to worshipping of Krishna or Vishnu. Because in case of worshipping the demigods, there is no bhakti there. Why there is no bhakti there? Because he can only be pure. And one cannot worship a demigod with pure motive. If there is a motive, how can it be pure? Right? So what we are talking about bhakti is not really bhakti. That is more of an astha. Asta means faith that I am worshipping this personality and this personality will fulfill my desires.
Mhm.
So it may be true that a demigod worshipper may have strong such asta in one's deity. And maybe a Krishna Bhakta may not have such a strong astha in his deity. But then that astha cannot be seen as devotion. Right? Because the word devotion, if it is a translation of bhakti, can only mean something which is pure. And that purity cannot exist in the mind of someone worshipping a demigod. Because if that person is pure, why will that person be attracted to a deity which is a manifestation of Rajaguna or Tamaguna? If your heart is pure, that means your heart is in Sattva-guna. So then your heart should be attracted to that deity which is the master of Sattva-guna. Naturally. Yeah, are you able to understand? It's not a matter of choice that I am choosing, I like Krishna, I like Shiva. It's a matter of purity of your heart. If your heart is pure, you'll be naturally drawn to a deity which resembles that purity. So we have to know this. It's not that if we have all taken to Krishna consciousness, that means we have intellectually chosen Krishna over Shiva or Ganesha. No, we have a certain level of consciousness, and that consciousness naturally draws towards Krishna, Vishnu. Are you able to understand? And those who are worshipping Shiva, they have a certain kind of consciousness which naturally draws them towards Shiva. Those who are worshipping Durga Devi, they have a certain kind of consciousness and it naturally draws them towards Durga. Similarly, some people have a type of consciousness which draws them towards Kali. So he cannot, that person who is worshipping Kali cannot say, I am a pure devotee of Kali. There's no question of purity in you. If you have attraction towards Kali, that means your heart cannot be pure. That purity is only imagined, that I am pure. But in reality, that person is not pure.
Desire is polluting the purity. You mean
No,
desire
that
is polluting.
it's the nature of that person's consciousness. Desire comes later. First is consciousness.
Prabhuji, should I go ahead?
Yeah, first let me check if this is done this.
Prabhuji,
Okay,
I have
Prabhu.
a question.
So you may appreciate a demigod worshipper's level of, you can say, faith or dedication or sincerity, but you cannot compare that to a Krishna Bhakta's consciousness.
Prabhuji,
Okay,
Prabhuji,
please one at a time. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Abhay Sena Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I am trying to become Krishna conscious, but I feel that my heart is not pure. So how
That
will
is
you relate
that
to
is
this?
that is a very good way of thinking. If you start thinking our heart is pure, then that's a problem. So it's good to think like that. My heart is not pure. So no problem with that. Right? We practice Krishna consciousness, and eventually our heart becomes purified. But the point is, you don't have to think so much about yourself. If you have developed some attraction for Krishna consciousness, that means relatively your consciousness is much better than those of people worshipping demigods. That is for sure. No doubt about it. Otherwise, you'll have no inclination towards the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. If this knowledge attracts you, that means your consciousness is at a higher level. If that won't be there, then you will not be attracted towards this knowledge. As simple as that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
This is Bhautik Jagat, Prabhuji, material world. Everyone is attracted towards to something or the other. Is this para not attracting those people? that they will
Is
come
it?
in
Is
this
it not?
paragraph, this puppet, this explanation, this of Shloka 21 is not attracting the persons of such type. Going to Shiva
Right.
is better than going to the Krishna.
Which
If you
type?
go through this paragraph, which we have completed just now,
What you're saying is by reading this verse, someone may become influenced to go to Shiva, like that.
yeah, I mean that only.
So it's
Because
okay. If that person's consciousness is at that level, let that person go to Shiva. What can be done then?
I think
then
this
you
is
can
what
say,
In spiritual life, you should know one thing. In development of spiritual consciousness, there's no kind of force or pressure upon people that you should worship this deity only and you should adopt this path only. It's your choice. I
but we
mean,
can
spiritual life is not a place where something is forced upon you. You don't have to work under any kind of pressure. It's your choice.
but ultimately we can tell him that this is not a devotion. But he will get angry after hearing this.
Why you have to tell? Why you have
Suppose
to tell?
suppose some discussion is there.
Then
Because
in a discussion, you don't tell people what they should be doing. You just discuss with them.
it means we should not point out their mistake, whatever they are doing.
Of course,
We
if
should not.
Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, you should preach very, I mean, cautiously. You should know whom to preach and whom to share the message and how much to share. That is the difference between a mature preacher and an immature preacher. An immature preacher preaches to everyone and preaches the same thing to everyone. And a mature preacher knows what to preach to whom and how much to preach. Right. That is the difference between mature and immature. Like to give you a very simple example, if you are selling diamonds and you are a good diamond seller, salesman, do you think you are going to catch hold of every person walking on the street to sell your diamonds?
No.
Why? Because that person should also have the capacity to buy what you're selling now.
Yeah.
If you just start trying selling to everyone, you'll only waste your time. So you know whom to sell. Similarly, when you are spreading the message of Krishna consciousness or you giving knowledge, you can't just start giving every knowledge to everyone because they should also have capacity to receive it. So if you think that I can just tell anything to anyone and everyone and they will accept it, you're just wasting your time. You should know at what that level that person is and how much you can help that person, in what way you can help that person.
So in this way, it becomes very difficult to preach a person who lives 24 hours with you.
It's very difficult to.
Preach or teach a person who lives 24 hours with you.
So then find some other teacher for that person.
You cannot leave also the family members.
You find someone else to teach that person, no? That is anyway very true. You should know that you can't preach to your family members. If you want to preach to your family members, find someone else to preach to them. They'll not listen to you.
Prabhuji,
This
but
is
it
something.
also falls, sorry to interrupt, but it also falls in one of the 10 offenses, right? To instruct a faithless person.
Yeah, that's what even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Don't give this knowledge to people who are faithless.
Mm.
So there is this particular rule is there. Second, anyone who is too familiar with you, you can't teach that person anything. So therefore, if you want that person to learn something, you should always find that person, a teacher or someone else who can teach. You can't. So if you are a husband and you think you can make your wife Krishna conscious, it's going to be difficult. If you're a wife, you think you can make your husband Krishna conscious, it's going to be difficult. If you're parents and you think you can make your children Krishna conscious, it's going to be difficult because they may not listen to you.
Yeah, I same problems with me. That's the reason I was asking.
They
They
will
are
not
not
listen
listening.
to you. They
They
will
are
not
not
listen to
listening.
you.
They are not
You
listening.
have you have to find someone else because with you they have more informal relationship.
They are not listening.
You have to find someone else to preach to them.
Prabhu, one question, like, I mean, when we have outreach programs, many times, like, we do introduce them to chanting of the holy name and all that. So,
Yeah, it's
that,
okay. You just introduce them. You don't educate them.
yeah.
You introduce it to them, then they try it, and if they like it, they'll come back to you. If they don't like it, they'll go.
Okay.
And when they go, you don't chase them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prabhuji,
Hare
I have a
Krishna.
question.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, it's mentioned in this verse 21 that Lord resides in the hearts of humans and also demigods. And He's provided a facility wherein He can connect both human and demigods to fulfill the materialistic desires. Right? So the facility provided is with an objective, and the objective is independence to humans. Right?
Independence too?
Humans, the jivas,
Yeah, okay.
to
Jivas.
fulfill the material desire. Now, my question is, suppose if somebody is diseased, like it's mentioned, if a diseased person has to go to sun god, right? So, I mean, he should come to Krishna and get free from his disease, or he should go back to sun god, get himself free from the disease, and again come back to Krishna consciousness. Likewise for the other demigods also, because it's a
Okay.
facility provided again by Lord Krishna.
But that's true. It's a facility provided by Lord Krishna. But if you already know Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, then why do you have to go back to a demigod?
Correct.
It's for those who don't know that Krishna is Supreme Personality.
Yeah, got the answer.
If you already have a river flowing in your village, then why do you have to go to a well to get the water? You just go to the river.
True.
So Krishna is like that river. Demigods are like wells.
Correct.
River can give you water for everything. So if you have come to that knowledge, then you work at that level.
Right.
You don't go back. So
Yes.
this is something very important for us to understand. If you are an atheist and then you start worshipping the demigods, that's a promotion for you. But if you are a Krishna Bhakta and then you start worshipping demigods, then that's a degradation for you. Okay. So we are not against demigod worship. It's like sometimes iskcon devotees are too fanatic about demigod worship, but that is not correct. We are not against demigod worship. We are just about, okay, where you are. So if you are an atheist and let's say you take to demigod worship, very good, because you have made some progress. At least you are accepting some higher power, some higher authority. No. But let's say you are a Krishna Bhakta and then you go down to demigod worship, then you have made, there's a downfall when you approach. So we have to understand this very nicely. Therefore, we should not be fanatic or demigod worship is bad. No, for some people, maybe that's a step up. But for you, that will become a step down.
Right, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
All right, Varshana Leela Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Hanumanji is considered demigod or Bhakta?
Yes, people have unnecessarily made him a demigod.
Okay.
Right?
He is the Bhakt.
Manji is a bhakta. People have just made him into a demigod. He's not a demigod.
Okay. Then one can be a Bhakta of Bhakta.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's no problem in worshipping Hanuman as a devotee. There's no problem in worshipping even Shiva as a devotee. No problem at all. If you see them as Vaishnavas, there's no problem. But if you see them as a demigod, then there's a problem, right? So Hanumanji is actually not at all a demigod. He's a pure bhakta. People have unnecessarily made him a demigod. It's just like, let's say, after 100, 200, 500 years, people start telling Srila Prabhupada is a demigod, and people start seeing Prabhupada as a devata and start worshipping Prabhupada as a devata. So then that is their misconception, isn't it? So Hanumanji is a bhakta, and there's no problem in we worshipping Hanumanji as a devotee. There's nothing wrong in that. Or praying to Hanumanji, you know. So we do that. Even praying to Shiva as a devotee, there's no problem. But then we should see Shiva as a devotee only, not as a demigod.
But in that also, Prabhuji, it doesn't matter, right? That if you are praying to Shiva for bhakti, that is something else. Seeing that he is the Vaishnava and he can connect us
Yes,
more
yes,
deeper.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
then
There's no problem.
we instead seeing him that yeah, he's a Vaishnava, but yeah, please Lord Shiva fulfill this desire. Then again, it is
Then again, you are seeing him as a
yeah,
demigod.
yeah. Even though somehow we have this knowledge that okay, he's a Vaishnava and this, and but again, if we are coming up with the
It's
desire,
just like, there is a head pujari in the temple, so you can go to that head pujari and tell him that please pray for me that I can become a bhakta. Or you can go to that head pujari and tell him, please give me some mahaprasadam. So if you are going to that head pujari and saying, pray for me so that I become a devotee, you're seeing that pujari as a devotee. But if you're going to that head pujari for mahaprasadam, then you're seeing that head pujari as a head pujari. So there's a difference,
yes.
isn't it?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Prabhuji, sorry, I mean, for the last question, I mean, we can discuss that later if it is not very relevant, but how do we see the gopis worshipping the Katyani this reference comes in the 10th canto, right? I mean, because gopis
Yeah.
knew
So
that
there are
Krishna is in the
examples
temple.
like that
Yeah.
where gopis, they worshipped a particular deity to get Krishna as their husband or something like that. So you see, what happens is we should know when Krishna and his pure devotees descend to perform Leela, they act just like ordinary humans. They just act like ordinary humans. So, how do ordinary humans act? If there is a girl, she wants a nice husband, so she is going to worship Shiva. If there's a boy, he wants a nice wife, then he is going to worship Uma, right? That's the social system. So in the human society. So because they are coming as humans and they're acting as humans, they just play that role very nicely. You're getting it now.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
It's not that they have to worship Katyayani, then they will get Krishna. Nothing like that. They're just playing those pastimes very nicely, very well. And also teaching us that, this is the best thing. That you approach anyone, you just ask for Krishna
Krishna. Yeah. Mm.
instead of asking for some material benefit. Right. Okay, so we go the next verse, 22. Mm. यो यो याम याम तनुम भक्तः श्रद्धयार्चितुमिच्छति तस्य तस्याचलां श्रद्धां ताम eva vidadhamyaham. I mean, everyone's heart as a super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself. We did this, right? We only
Yes,
read
we
the
have
text.
completed, Prabhuji. Just now we have
Yeah.
completed this only.
We read the purport also.
Yeah, my question was
Okay.
only on this purport here.
Okay, this is 21. I'm sorry, 22. Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktastasyaradhanamihate Labate cha tata kaman mayeva vihitan hitan. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Purport. We are supposed to read it. Abhay Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. The demigods cannot award benedictions to their devotees without the permissions of the Supreme Lord. The living entity may forget that everything is the property of the Supreme Lord, but the demigods do not forget. So the worship of demigods and achievement of desired results due not to the demigods but to the personality of Godhead by arrangement. The less intelligent living entity does not know this, and therefore he foolishly goes to the demigods for some benefit. But the pure devotee, when in need of something, prays only to the Supreme Lord. Asking for material benefit, however, is not a sign of a pure devotee. A living entity goes to the demigods usually because he is mad to fulfill his lust. This happens when something undue is desired by the living entity and the Lord himself does not fulfill the desire. In the Charitamrita, it is said that one who worships the Supreme Lord and at the same time desires material enjoyment is contradictory in his desires. Devotional service to the Supreme Lord and the worship of a demigod cannot be on the same platform because worship of a demigod is material and devotional service to the Supreme Lord is completely spiritual. For the living entity who desires to return to Godhead, material desires are impediments. A pure devotee of the Lord is therefore not awarded the material benefits desired by less intelligent living entities who therefore prefer to worship demigods of the material world rather than engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, next verse 23. Antavattu phalang tesham tat bhavati alpamedhasam devan deva yacho yanti yad bhakta yanti mamapi. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods. Why they are small? Having small intelligence. Because the fruits that are obtained by demigod worship are limited and temporary. Therefore, they are less intelligent. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Okay. Purport. Shri Lakshmi Mataji. You can't unmute yourself. Okay, sorry. Please do it now.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Puppet by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Some commentators in Bhagavad-Gita say the one who worships demigod can reach Supreme Lord. But here it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigod go to the different planetary systems where various demigods are situated. Just as worshipper of sun achieves the sun, or the worshipper of demigod of moon achieves the moon. Similarly, if anyone wants to worship a demigod like Indra, he can attain that particular god's planet. It is not that everyone, regardless of whatever demigod is worshipped, will reach the supreme personality of Godhead. That is denied here. For it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigod go to the different planets in the material world, but the devotee of Supreme Lord goes directly to the supreme planet of the personality of God. Here, the point may be raised that if demigods are different parts of the body of Supreme Lord, then the same end should be achieved by worshipping them. However, the worshippers of demigod are less intelligent because they don't know what part of the body food must be supplied. Some of them are so foolish that they claim that there are many parts and many ways to supply food. This isn't very sensual. So, can anyone supply food to the body through eyes or ears or eyes? They do not know that these demigods are different parts of the universal body of Supreme Lord, and in their ignorance, they believe that each of and every demigod is a separate god and a competitor of Supreme Lord. Not only are the demigods part of Supreme Lord, but ordinary living entities are also. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the Brahmanas are the head of the Supreme Lord, Kshatriyas are the arms, the Vaishyas are his waist, the Shudras are the legs, and all serve different functions. Regardless of the situation, if one knows that both the demigods and he himself are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, his knowledge is perfect. But if he does not understand this, he achieves different planets where demigods reside. This is not the same destination that devotees reach. The results achieved by demigods' benedictions are perishable because within this material world, the planets, the demigods, and their worshippers are all perishable. Therefore, it is clearly stated in this verse that all results achieved by worshipping demigods are perishable. Therefore, such worship is performed by less intelligent living. Because the pure devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness is devotional service of the Supreme Lord, achieves eternal bliss, full existence that is full of knowledge, his achievements, and those of common worshippers of demigod are different. The Supreme Lord is unlimited, his favor is unlimited, his mercy is unlimited. Therefore, the mercy of Supreme Lord upon his pure devotees is unlimited. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so we should understand one thing, that in Bhagavad Gita, what is derided by the Supreme Lord or condemned by the Supreme Lord is demigod worship. But the demigods are nowhere condemned by the Supreme Lord, right? It's the worship. So similarly, those who are practicing Krishna consciousness, they should never do the mistake of condemning the demigods. Sometimes some again immature understanding of Krishna consciousness makes people speak very uh, badly about Lord Shiva or Durga or Ganesha and other such personalities, So that is then aparadh or offense towards those personalities. So we should not speak ill of them, and we should not even deride them. They are very great personalities, otherwise they would not be empowered by Krishna to perform those duties, isn't it? So it's demigod worship which is condemned, not the demigods. And therefore, we should be very careful when we are presenting Krishna consciousness. We do not deride the position of Shiva or Brahma or Durga or Ganesha or any other such demigod. They are powerful beings, very pure, in fact, much more pure than human beings. And therefore, they are in that position. So we do respect them. But it is that demigod worship which is condemned, because that demigod worship is not really bhakti, it's only a business transaction. I do for you and you do for me, something like that, which is again not pure desire to serve, it is selfishness. There's no bhakti in it. It's only some kind of deal. I want something from you, that's why I'm worshipping you. Fine. Now there's another category of people who don't worship the demigods, but they worship Krishna impersonally. That is also mentioned here. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam maniyante mam abuddhayaha param bhavam ajananto mavyayam anuttamam. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So there are some people whom Krishna is calling as unintelligent. Demigods worshippers were called as less intelligent, and these people are called as unintelligent. Why? Because they think absolute truth is impersonal. Avyaktam Vyaktimapan. He was impersonal, and now he has become personal. So this is very much the thought process of Mayavadis. They think that the Nirgun Brahman has accepted some qualities within the three modes and have become Sagun Brahman. Right? So that's Mayavad. So this is being explained here. This due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. Purport. Dinanath Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Those who are worshippers of demigods have been described as less intelligent persons, and here the impersonalists are similarly described. Lord Krishna, in his personal form, is here speaking before Arjuna, and still due to ignorance, impersonalists argue that the Supreme Lord ultimately has no form. Yamunacharya, a great devotee of the Lord in the disciplic succession of Ramanujacharya, has written a very appropriate verse in this connection. He says, Tvam Chilarupa Charitai Parama Prakristai Satvena Satvikataya Prabalaischa Shastrai Prak Prakyatadhaiva Paramarthavidam Mataischa Naivashura Prakrithaya Prabhavanti Bodham. My dear Lord, devotees like Vyasadeva and Narada know you to be the personality of Godhead. By understanding different Vedic literatures, one can come to know your characteristics, your form, and your activities, and one can thus understand that you are the supreme personality of Godhead. But those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance, the demons, the non devotees, cannot understand you. They are unable to understand you. However, experts such non devotees may be in discussing Vedanta and the Upanishads and other Vedic literatures. It is not possible for them to understand the personality of Godhead. Strotra Ratna 12. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the personality of Godhead cannot be understood simply by the study of the Vedanta literature. Only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord can the personality of the Supreme be known. Therefore, in this verse, it is clearly stated that not only are the worshippers of the demigods less intelligent, but those non devotees who are engaged in Vedanta and speculation on Vedic literature without any tinge of true Krishna consciousness are also less intelligent, and for them, it is not possible to understand God's personal nature. Persons who are under the impression that the absolute truth is impersonal are described as abhuddhaya, which means those who do not know the ultimate feature of the absolute truth. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that supreme realization begins from the impersonal Brahman and then rises to the localized super soul. But the ultimate word in the absolute truth is the personality of Godhead. Modern impersonalists are still less intelligent, for they do not even follow their great predecessor Shankaracharya, who has specifically stated that the Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Impersonalists, therefore, not knowing the supreme truth, think Krishna to be the only son of Devaki and Vasudeva, or a prince, or a powerful living entity. This is also condemned in the Bhagavad-Gita 9.11. Avajnananti mam muda manushim tanum ashritam. Only the fools regard me as an ordinary person. The fact is that no one can understand Krishna without rendering devotional service and without developing Krishna consciousness. The Bhagavatam 10.14.29 confirms this. Atapite deva padambuja dvaya prasada lesangurihitat evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno nachanya ekopi chiram vichinvan. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the supreme personality of Godhead are unable to know you even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. One cannot understand the supreme personality of Godhead Krishna or his form, quality, or name simply by mental speculation or by discussing Vedic literature. One must understand him by devotional service. When one is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, beginning by chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, then only can one understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Non-devotee impersonalists think that Krishna has a body made of this material nature and that all his activities, his form, and everything are Maya. These impersonalists are known as Mayavadis. They do not know the ultimate truth. The 20th verse clearly states, Kamais tais tair hrita gnana prapadyante nya devataha. Those who are blinded by the lusty desire surrender unto the different demigods. It is accepted that besides the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are demigods who have their different planets, and the Lord also has a planet. As stated in the 23rd verse, Devan Deva Yajo Yanti Madbhakta Yanti Mam Apar. The worshippers of the demigods go to the different planets of the demigods, and those who are devotees of Lord Krishna go to the Krishna Loka planet. Although this is clearly stated, the foolish impersonalists still maintain that Lord is formless and that these forms are impositions. From the study of the Gita, does it appear that the demigods and their abodes are impersonal? Clearly, neither the demigods nor Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are impersonal. They are all persons. Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has his own planet, and the demigods have theirs. Therefore, the monoistic contention that ultimate truth is formless and that form is imposed does not hold true. It is clearly stated here that it is not imposed. From the Bhagavad-Gita, we can clearly understand that the forms of the demigods and the form of Supreme Lord are simultaneously existing, and that Lord Krishna is Satchidananda, eternal blissful knowledge. The Vedas also confirm that the Supreme Absolute Truth is Anandamayo Vyasat, or by nature full of blissful pleasure, and that he is the reservoir of unlimited auspicious qualities. And in the Gita, the Lord says that although he is Aja unborn, he still appears. These are the facts that we should understand from the Bhagavad Gita. We cannot understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be impersonal. The imposition theory of the impersonalist monist is false. As far as the statements of the Gita are concerned, it is clear herein that the Supreme Absolute Truth, Lord Krishna, has both form and personality. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here. It's time now. Complete the chapter in the next class. I wanted to do it in this class itself. No problem. Yes, any last question or comment by anyone?
Prabhuji, if you could just clarify from the purport, it is said that the form is not imposed. What does it mean that it is not imposed?
Therefore, the monistic contention that ultimate truth is formless and the form is imposed. So here the word imposed means it is something which is not originally there, but it has been brought by the manifestation of the three modes of material nature. That's
Okay.
imposition. Just like, the spirit soul gets this material body as an imposition on it.
Mm-hmm.
So their understanding is that similarly, Krishna is pure Brahman, which is Nirakar and Nirgun, and the Sham Sundar form of Krishna is an imposition on that Brahman.
Okay, understood, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, just one question.
Hmm.
Prabhu, who is at a higher level, like in the sense, worshippers of demigods or the impersonalists who, like,
I'm sorry, what do you say?
in the hierarchy, like who is at a higher level? I mean, the worshippers of demigods or impersonalists?
Who is at a higher level?
Hmm.
Well, it depends actually. If you look at it from one angle, then the demigod worshippers are at a higher level because Krishna tells them less intelligent. At least they accept a personality as an authority, a higher power, and they have some seva bhav towards that devata. Those who are impersonalists, they are devoid of that seva bhav. So therefore, they are on a lower level. But then but in another perspective, if you see, then the impersonalists are seen as spiritualists, and demigod worshippers are seen as materialists, because those who are impersonalists, they are not interested in any material benefit. They are interested in mukti. They want freedom from material life. Whereas demigod worshippers, they are only interested in a better material life. So if you look at it from that angle, then those who are impersonalists, they are better.
Okay.
Is there plus and minus? Here, this is plus, that is minus.
Dandot pranam, Prabhuji.
Okay, we'll stop here. See you tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.